Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks. That's a radio network, 200 stations, coast to coast, on Sunday, November 1st, 2015. This is episode, get this, 1234. 1234. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by the Ring Video Doorbell. With Ring, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like caller ID for your home. Right now, get free FedEx shipping when you go to ring.com/techguy. And by ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post to 100-plus job sites, including social networks, all with a single click. Screen, rate, and hire the right candidates fast. Try ZipRecruiter with a free 4-day trial now at ZipRecruiter.com/techguy. And by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of SuperTank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. Epson is loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit Epson.com/EcoTank to find out more. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and smartphones and smartwatches and anything with a chip in it. All that stuff. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. The website is techguylabs.com. If you want to call in with a question, a comment, a suggestion, if you'd like to, get some information, some hand-holding on the information superhighway, that's what we're here for. 8888 Ask Leo. This is a mature industry now. Well, lo and behold, how interesting. Two stories this week kind of tell me that it is. One, HP dividing into two companies. They split. They've got HP Inc., which sells computers and printers. That's the dying side of the company. And Hewlett-Packard Enterprises, or HPE, which will be the future of the company, they think. Business services, enterprise computing, business computing, servers, data storage, networking software, that kind of stuff. Each of them is expected to have revenue of about $50 billion, so that they're by no means two small companies. And they're, I like this, they're splitting possession of Hewlett and Packard's offices. The founders of HP, almost 100 years ago, remember this was the original Silicon Valley garage. The garage and their offices have been unchanged and are going to continue in that building, but they're building a special hallway from the two different companies so that people from both sides can visit the original Hewlett-Packard garage. 75-year-old garage, which I guess they've, packed up and put inside the building. William Hewlett and David Packard, who founded Hewlett-Packard 75 years ago. And now it's two companies as of today. That's one kind of data point that tells me I think we're in an industry that is no longer, the darling of the stock market, no longer the go super growth industry. The other one is a study from the Pew Research Center. They do these great studies. The Pew Center. They're always studying how people use technology. And it's interesting. 68% of Americans now have smartphones. 45% have tablet computers. Smartphone ownership has grown incredibly. Straight up, I think the last survey they did 10 years ago was 65% have actually, that was cell phones, wasn't it? Computer ownership, however, if you think of computers as laptops and desktops, is dropping among young adults and has since 2010. This is adults 18 to 29. Of people 18 to 29, the future, right? 98% have a cell phone. 86% smartphone. Of course, everybody has a cell phone, but 86% have a smartphone. 78% have a computer. That's down from 88% 5 years ago. 51% have an MP3 player, down from 75% 5 years ago. 56% have a console for gaming. That's down from 62% 5 years ago. Smartphone usage up, though, in 4 years from 52 to 86%. Tablet use 4 years ago was 13% among this group, is now 50%, but it's flattened. You know what's gone down in the last year? E-book readers. Only 18% of them have e-book. What do you need an e-book reader if you've got a tablet or a smartphone? You don't need an e-book reader. This is a mature industry. What does that mean? Well, you know, it means that, for instance, there's less need to buy a new computer or a new tablet. That's one of the reasons I think sales have flattened for both, actually going down for tablets, because there's no huge innovation, right? It's pretty much the same computer and tablet of 4 years ago, and if you've got one, it still works. No reason to get a new one. Smartphones, though, continue to grow, but I think now, if you look at 18 to 29 and 82% of them have smartphones, I think that's there's not a lot of room to grow there. And computing, I think desktop computing is starting to fade away even. We're in a mature business. Now, I don't know if that means anything for this show. It certainly means we talk a lot more than we used to about how to keep an old computer going. We talk a lot more to people who have old tablets, old computers. We talk a lot more about new smartphones because that's an area that's still growing, although I think that's started to flatten out. There's the difference between the latest smartphones from 5 different companies, iPhone from Apple, Samsung's top-of-the-line phones, LG, HTC. They're, Motorola, they're all about the same, really. So we can just relax a little bit. This is... we don't have to be in a go-go, what's the next big thing kind of economy. I was looking back through old Facebook posts, and I saw everybody, this is about 4 years ago, talking about the next Twitter. I bet you don't, if I say the name, you'll go, what? Feed, P-H-E-E-D, a place to express yourself. Everybody was going to the new Twitter. Miley Cyrus was going to Feed. Everybody, no, they haven't updated their page since 2013. Still around, but it's kind of a ghost town. Even Google Plus, which was the new hotness, no, kind of a ghost town. It's Twitter and Facebook, as it has been for the last 4-5 years. It's all kind of, which is fine with me. Not great with the stock market. They're punishing Twitter because Twitter can't keep that torrid, startup growth, the doubling every year kind of growth that they want. Even Facebook's going to have trouble doing that. They have 1.5 million users. That's pretty much everyone. That's done. They're done. There's no... Well, you're going to have to find Martians or something. So I'm glad we can calm down a little bit. We don't have to look for what's the hot new thing, what's the next thing. We don't have to get all excited about the next smartphone coming out because you know what? The one you got's probably as good as the one that's coming out. Look at the OnePlus 2X from OnePlus. This is their new one. What's the difference? Well, it's got, it's got a glass back. Okay, wow. Zazu pits, as my grandpa used to say. Actually, they're only going to make, I think, 10,000 of them. There's a ceramic one if you really want to be, in the cool crowd. You could have a ceramic phone. Well, I think once you put it in a case, don't they all look the same? I used to make a game out of trying to figure out when people come take pictures of me at the studio, what kind of smartphone they're using. I can't tell anymore. The only difference is where the camera is on the iPhone. It's still on the edge. Everybody else has gone in the middle. That's about it. You can't tell anymore. They're all the same. Now they compete on price, right? That's what happened in the PC market. Once there was no differentiator, all PCs are the same. How do you compete? Price. So we're starting to see prices drop. That's good. We can calm down. We can get to know the stuff we have. We don't have to run out and get the newest thing. I'm gonna make an effort to stop singing the praises of the hot new thing. Let's just use the stuff we've got. That's not a bad thing. Kind of just, wow. This phone, maybe if I don't need to get the newest thing. I did get the newest thing about a month ago, but I don't need. Well, that was the new iPhone. You got to get the new iPhone, right? See, I have to. It's my job. I have to stay in this go-go world so I can keep up in case something comes along that's going to change your life, and then I'll let you know. Otherwise, it's all pretty good. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, there's an example. The Apple TV. Apple's the only company I know that doubles the price of their product without really. What?
The digitized, remember when that happened before?
Oh, I won't be able to see this? Oh, I won't be able to see this?
No.
What won't work?
I can't screen the calls because the callers are, when they sound so.
And how did we fix that last time?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
But I don't know how to start your car. I could not make your car go.
I had to go out there and do that.
There's a button.
There's a button. You didn't realize
Oh, you have to have your foot on the brake, otherwise.
And I couldn't find how to release the parking brake. That took me like 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, guys. But you managed?
I did, it's right
Thank you. Oh, you found a spot. Nice, thank you. They couldn't figure out how to start my car. I'm sorry. So I should just keep talking until we get some calls?
Let me see if this person sounds okay.
My new Tesla. Tesla's got a real racket. You give them, oh, I see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I understand what 1, 2, 3, 4 means. It's the show number. What that was such a mystery. And I'm sitting here and it says that right on the lower third. You knew it.
No, I didn't get to tell you because of your car.
I'm sorry. Episode 1234.
Flashers on, drawing attention to it.
That's why I left my flashers on.
Anyway, coffee or tea?
Tea, please. Thank you. Thank you for attempting to move my car.
Now I know.
Yeah, it's complicated. I know. You need a course. Thank you, Chris Marquardt, photo guy. Apple says that they cannot software upgrade to 4K. They say they just can't. Don't hold out hope for that. The nice thing about the new Apple TV, from our point of view, is yes, there are not one, not two, but 3 Twit apps on it. And they're all excellent, and we're very happy to have them. And I did watch a little Twit last night. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. So what happens when we've reached the end of the line on technology? Well, all these companies, the stock market demands intense growth from them. They're punishing Twitter because they only grew a few million users last month. Crazy, right? So all these companies saying, well, what's the next big thing? And they're hurrying. And now instead of asking us or themselves, well, what would I like? They have to find something desperately. So they come up with things like smart watches that apparently nobody really needs. And now the new hotness. There's 2 new hotnesses. And we'll see, right? We'll see. One is virtual reality. The helmets where you're in a game and you actually can walk around in it and make yourself seasick because you're not really moving, but the game is fun. People, no, I'm not. I'm actually not skeptical. I'm excited. I think that's a good thing. And it's kissing cousin augmented reality, where you see things superimposed on the real world. You wear special sunglasses that superimpose stuff on the real world, which is kind of cool too. I like both. And then the other thing, of course, the other new hotness is self-driving cars. And there maybe is, I think you can make a case there's a need for it, but you can also make a case that they're terrifying to the people riding in them. They show these videos of people just sitting, calmly eating dinner in the dining room in their car. You know how it's going to be, at least for a few years. You're going to sit with your hands hovering over the wheel. and your foot just next. It's like teaching your kid to drive. You're just going to be living on the edge the whole time. Will it make the right decisions? Is it going to drive into a tree? What's going to happen? That's what the technology industry says. The next big. They always have to have, don't they? The next big thing. The fun thing about technology is you never know. There's some kid working in a garage somewhere who actually did invent the next best thing. That's already, maybe somebody's already got that, and we just don't know about it. And that's what Wall Street's constantly in search for. 8888 Ask Leo now. Kim Schaffer's here answering the phones. We were having a little difficulty earlier. Everybody sounded like a robot. That's the next big thing. Everybody sounded like a robot.
Hard to understand them when they sound like that,
but we fixed it?
It's fixed. We have some people on the line now.
Nice. All right. So I apologize for those of you who called in.
And got dumped.
And we just hung up on you. It wasn't your fault. It's our system made you sound like a robot, and we couldn't understand you. But we now have people instead of robots. So who should I talk to?
How about George in Santa Monica with a Wi-Fi question?
All right. Hi, George.
Good morning, Leo. I have a Wi-Fi, and I want to go out past where the Wi-Fi drops off and go out and sit on my patio table. What product can I buy to take the Wi-Fi that's in the house and extend it beyond that? Is it like an extender they call it or something?
I do that all the time. I'm FaceTiming with my mom, which is fun, you Skype and FaceTime because you see her, she sees me. My mom, I think I always see the top of her head, not really her face, because she can't really figure out how to do that. That's okay. And then, okay, Mom, I hope you're not listening, but sometimes as you're talking to your mom, you're nodding, and you kind of, maybe I start to go, I don't know, get the mail. And then I forget that when I go get the mail, I'm going to go outside. Suddenly, I lose my mom. That's not what I wanted. So what you need is exactly what you just said. You came up with it, a Wi-Fi extender. And
what is a good brand?
Well, the brand to get is the brand that closely matches what you've got already, generally. So if you have a Linksys, there's Linksys. They call them extenders or sometimes repeaters. If you have a Netgear, get a Netgear. A D-Link, get a D-Link. It'll always work better. It'll always work more easily if it matches the brand. Now, a lot of people don't know what brand they have because they get their Wi-Fi access point from their ISP, from their cable or phone company.
Uh-huh.
Are you in that situation?
I have a modem that used to be a D-Link modem.
Yeah.
But it failed about 2 weeks ago, and I lost it. So they sent me a new modem.
Okay. Does it have Wi-Fi, or do you have your own Wi-Fi adapter?
Well, I have a router that I used to use, the airport router.
Good. So get another. Get Apple makes an. They don't call it an extender, but it is the Airport Express.
Yes, yeah.
So you get that, and you put that as close to where the patio as you can. Obviously, you could even put it outside. What the ideal would be kind of midway between the base station and the patio, because you want to have a good signal to the extender. The extender will put it back to 5 bars. So the better the signal to the extender, and then you'll extend the distance. You'll double the distance.
Okay. Now, can I give a pat on the back to one of your your sponsors, DSL Extreme?
Always. No one will complain about that.
When my modem went out, they sent me a new modem.
Good for them.
And I couldn't get it to work. And I had to call for technical support. And a guy at DSL worked with me for over an hour and a half.
Wow.
And he couldn't get my the airport modem the Wi-Fi to go into that Airport Express. And he worked, and he hung up, and he called me back later and worked a little bit more, and he finally got it to work. And I'm so happy that they take pride in making sure their customers are happy.
Unsolicited testimonial from George in Santa Monica. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
All righty. Take care.
Bye.
Now, the chat room's giving me a link to Wirecutter, which I love, the Wirecutter blog, which is thewirecutter.com. There, the theory behind the blog is let's pick the one best of anything, one best TV, one best toaster, doesn't matter, whatever, the one best of everything. And they have reviewed Wi-Fi extenders, and a couple of days ago they came out with the best Wi-Fi extender. And the only caution I'd give you is, and this, by the way, is a Netgear, is it probably will work with anything, but it's generally easiest to set up a Wi-Fi extender that's the same brand. However, if you don't know the brand, or you're willing to take a little chance, this is $100. It's the Netgear EX6200. And they said after doing 110 hours of research and trying 10 different extenders, this had the best combination of range, speed, flexibility, and physical connections of any extender we tested. So that's pretty high praise from a review blog I do trust. They're really good. So, this is something to consider. I'll put a link in the show notes, techguylabs.com. It has been my experience that, the theory is it's a standard for Wi-Fi extending. It's called WDS, the Wireless Distribution System. But as I've said before, it's a standard that's loosely written. That's the worst of both worlds. You've got a standard, but it can be interpreted in a variety of ways. And for that reason, the real rule is it's always best to get a extender that uses the same chipset as your base station. That's the real rule, but it's kind of a hard one to figure out. What chipset does it use? So I say get the same brand, and that'll do it. I'll have to try this Netgear. 8888 Ask Leo. The website is techguylabs.com. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Isn't it nice how all the devices now just automatically set themselves back for your standard time? I like that. You know what I did for Halloween? I stayed home. I was going to do Paul Blart Mall Cop, and I got lazy. And I let Michael and Lisa go out on their own because he had a bunch of friends he was trick-or-treating with. So I said, this year, I've done it in the past couple of years. This year, I'm going to stay home. I watched a nice documentary and waited for somebody to come to the door, which no one ever did. But I had a bowl of candy. And that was my job. My job was to wait for trick-or-treaters. Did you get trick-or-treaters? But you're kind of in the back.
No.
You're scary. No one would go back there.
No, I'm in the backyard. No.
But the front would get
I mean,
trick-or-treaters.
if I put a light on,
Yeah.
a gate, and
Yeah.
had decorations.
Right. I had 3 pumpkins on the stoop, and I turned on the light just in case. But we live on a cul-de-sac in the middle of the country, and there are a couple of kids in the cul-de-sac, but
I don't have any cream.
Oh my God, that's
So-
fine. Did you put some milk in it?
I can put some half and half in it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Half and half's good in tea.
Okay.
I'll take it.
All right.
Thank you.
Not all devices switch with daylight saving time.
What device did not? None of the ones in there, probably. Microwaves.
No, I didn't look at that. That clock.
So this is not a radio clock. That clock, yeah. So you went around a lot of clocks.
I got here at 8 o'clock this morning.
You've been setting clocks all day.
7. And I have to change the
7 clocks?
UTC offset on some devices
Yeah.
that don't know.
Yeah, we're -8 now. Yeah.
So, there were some things to do here.
I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
I got up. No,
Thank you for
letting me
have
set our
7
clocks. That's a
7
lot.
devices in here.
That's too much.
Nobody
Just-
gets to do that.
I had 2. I had the stove and the microwave I had to set. I was pleased because a lot of times your atomic clocks inside, the radio clocks don't get a signal. I got very lazy. I was going to do costume changes. I was going to go from the Mad Hatter to the guy in Lederhosen, little German boy, to Paul Blart. I had all the accoutrements. I had all the pieces. I just got lazy. I said, oh, the hell with it. I'm 58. I don't have to trick or treat anymore.
You did what I would have liked to have done.
It was very quiet and peaceful. And I got an extra hour's sleep tonight. I'm feeling great.
Yeah. I got home at 3 in the morning.
Well, you're young. You have to partay. You have to partay. What was your costume?
I borrowed a costume from someone we both know.
Yeah, she was very scary as a nurse. What was her name? Nurse
Kirsty.
Bloodthirsty Kirsty.
Bloodthirsty Kirsty.
Oh,
Yeah,
I saw her
borrowed
picture.
Her hand-me-down sexy cop costume from a few years ago.
You two girls, I swear. My, you're just catnip to the boys. Catnip. Are there pictures? Did you post pictures? Thank you.
I have no photos on my phone. A couple of people took some pictures, but I haven't seen them end up on Facebook yet.
The big one in I should mention this. The big one in Silicon Valley, which Heather ran into, was, well, actually, I'll save this for the air. I'll save this for the
Heather
air.
ran into someone?
Yes.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, that was me, Mick. Yeah. And so I'm going to, because I'm worried, because, we're decommissioning all the SoftLayer servers, including the chat server. And Bear will move that over to our new hosting at some point. But I'm really concerned about the ZNC server getting killed. I don't think anybody knows how that works. And maybe one of you does. And I'm worried about some of the scripts and bots. I don't know what's going to happen. But we're moving everything over to, I think, over to Blackmesh. I'm not sure. So I thought I'd set up that irccloud.com. It's $5 a month, but it's a permanent chat. So you're here, so I figure you set the clocks back, right? Fall back. Isn't it nice now that well, you tell me. I guess it depends. Most of the clocks set themselves now, right? At home, because I have wall clocks because I'm always late. So in an effort to avoid that, I do have wall clocks. But almost all of them are radio clocks, so they set the time automatically because I like to be, well, if I'm going to have a clock, I want it to be accurate. So I only had to, I got up early, and I only had to set the oven and the microwave oven. Those clocks were wrong, of course. But John here in our studio, you'd think here in the studio everything would be, but he says there are 7 clocks, and he counted them, that he had to set, that he had to fall back with. When do we get to stop this whole daylight savings time insanity? Saving time insanity. When do we get to stop that? Let's just stay at one time. Can we all year round? No? 8888 Ask Leo. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's go back to the phones. I'm going to talk about the hot costume in Silicon Valley. Do you want me to tell you about that? No, I'll save it. That's a tease, my friends. A little later on. The hot costume. It was the talk of Silicon Valley. VJ in Tucson, Arizona. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, VJ.
Hi, Leo. I have a Dell XPS laptop.
Yes.
And I was always using the Ethernet cable, so I didn't realize it. But recently, I got the Wi-Fi hooked up, and my wife uses the other laptop. And this laptop has a design flaw.
Oh.
And on Google, it says because of RF interference, shielding, whatever, and aluminum display cover. And people have proposed all kinds of solutions, like adding a USB antenna booster, opening up the laptop, adding more antennas, or changing the Wi-Fi card. And there's all over the map. And my question really is, because this is a design flaw, which solution would make sense?
So the design flaw, I take it, is a metal case.
Correct.
So antennas don't do well going through metal unless you really make efforts. Of course, many phones now are metal, including the iPhones, and you'll notice they have little plastic radio windows, that's what we call them, so that the RF, the radio frequency, can pass through.
Shielding, correct.
Yeah, it goes through plastic fine, but apparently Dell didn't really test that XPS. That's a shame. That's kind of shocking, really. I suppose
it's all over the map. XPS,
yeah.
I have XPS 15, but I was shocked myself. There is lawsuit type ideas, but nobody is doing anything about it. Everybody's throwing their own ideas in there. How to?
I have an XPS 13, this year's XPS 13, which is of course an aluminum case, but it has it has a plastic keyboard, and it works just fine. The Wi-Fi works just fine.
I think I bought it from Costco a few years ago.
They've obviously fixed it since then.
Right. They probably fixed it.
Yeah, because you don't want to. No one wants a laptop that Wi-Fi doesn't work.
I know, it's ridiculous.
A couple of things you can do. The easiest would be to get a USB Wi-Fi dongle.
Okay.
And it just goes into your USB port. You can stow it when you're not using it. Sounds like you don't use Wi-Fi all the time. It has some advantages. The antenna now is outside the case, so it's not only not impeded by the metal, but really you can kind of move it around a little bit. It's not, it's not on a long leash. But that actually gives you really good, much better Wi-Fi than any internal Wi-Fi antenna, and they're cheap. They're $30-$40.
Yeah, that's why I saw. Very
Yeah.
good.
$20 from Amazon.
But I mean, going in because actually, I have friends who, and we opened the whole laptop, and I put in a whole new.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of work.
But yeah, shielding would be a ludicrous idea. Or changing Wi-Fi card would not buy you anything.
No, you could, and I've done this in the past. You can. This was kind of a crazy project. We wanted to extend the range of the Wi-Fi in a laptop. So you can replace the internal antenna with an external antenna, but of course there's no outlet for that wire. So you actually have to drill a hole in the case and trim the wire out through the case to an external antenna. Just get a $20 USB adapter. You'll be happy.
That's probably the best way to go.
Yeah, that's the easiest, cheapest way.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, that's a shame.
I know. It's. I mean, I love Dell. I've been buying for
me too.
Years, but it's sad. I mean, before I bought the one, there was the i7 chip with the 8 processors, and there was heating problems, so I fixed that. And I don't know why because I love Dell. Again, I bought Dell. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is ludicrous.
Again?
I know, no more. I know.
Well, I just got myself. I replaced my Dell, but remember, I'm the guy. I was just talking about how you can keep a laptop for 4 years now. I'm the guy who has to get. I have to. Honest. Get the newest stuff. I have to. It's my job. So I just bought the new Microsoft Surface Book. And, I think in some ways the Dell 13 is better in many ways. It's lighter, thinner, same size screen, but a much smaller package. But it doesn't do something. I like the Surface Book, and the Wi-Fi on it's good. And I've been very happy with the Surface Book, so that might be one to look at.
That's what I'm going to buy for my wife.
Yeah, if it's from Microsoft, they have a higher standard. They have to adhere to a little bit because they're Microsoft.
They are, I know.
It's a shame. Dell has gone downhill a little bit.
Yes, it makes me sad. I think this is my last Dell.
That's too bad.
I'm tired of it.
All right.
So as you were saying, outside antenna booster or whatever, that would be enough.
No, well, it's not an antenna booster. It's a USB Wi-Fi dongle. It does it replaces the internal Wi-Fi radio with a USB radio. USB's fast enough, especially USB 3, fast enough. Oh, I guess you have an older one, so it'll be USB 2. It's still fast enough. And because it's external, it usually does a better job of reception. You can get a variety of different ones, some even with longer cables that let you kind of put the antenna in an even better spot. Most of the time, the one that just kind of has a short thing that just sticks out is fine. And they're cheap. They don't cost very much. Dell's suffering, as all the PC industry is. We talked at the beginning of the show about HP splitting off its PC business because of us. It's our fault. It's a race to the bottom. And I mentioned that as well, that when you get a mature industry, and there's not much of a differentiator, frankly, between laptops. They're all, roughly the same. There's a few slight differences here and there. But it's hard to differentiate. So whether they end up they differentiate on price. And you have a race to the bottom. And but what happens, of course, when the profit margins go down is companies can't put as much energy into design, engineering. Worst of all, support. That's the first thing to go. Support's very expensive, and it comes right off the top. Right off the top. 8888 Ask Leo. The phone number. Bobby is in Florida. Hey, Bobby.
Oh, hey, Leo. I'm so glad I finally got to get a hold of you, my man.
What's the matter? You got a problem there, Bobby?
Yeah, I do. My power button on my MacBook, it started, it wouldn't start up no more. So I went to this website, Gary and Dino, and it told me that there's these two little buttons on the back, so I'm using a screwdriver to keep turning it on. So it's like it's a 2010 MacBook.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's like arcing, it's kind of like jump starting a car. And I'm arcing the back of it.
That doesn't sound like a good idea at all. So that's the only way you can start it, though, huh?
Yes, and I got to get my podcast and stuff off there and my downloads, and I got everything on that computer.
Well, don't turn it off. I mean, my first advice is stop turning it off. Just let it go to sleep. You don't need to turn it off. Why are you turning it off?
Well, see, I don't turn it off on purpose. I'll accidentally hit I'll hit the cord or the cable or something like that, and it'll come up. But I do try to keep it on as much as I can.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously a short-term solution. 5 years on a laptop, It's out of warranty, and it's pretty beat up, it sounds like. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Gary and Dino.
Sounds like a band.
Gary and Dino. Wait a minute, I gotta see if I can find this site.
Or a bar.
The Gary and Dino site. That's hysterical. Do you think it was Garyandino? Like that's his name? Gary and Dino. Oh, it's the Gary and Dino Show. It's a premium podcast. The Gary and Dino is a radio show. What? The Gary and Dino Show? I wouldn't be taking advice from these guys.
I wouldn't recommend putting a screwdriver into anything electrical.
The tagline for the show is "Stupid served fresh." Oh, it's Tom Leykis' sidekicks? Well, that'll tell you something.
Oh, yes, them. I remember them.
Gary and Dino. So, but they have their own show now?
I don't know that I would take tech advice from them.
Pop culture from the stupid among us. I think they were joking. Well, what you got to do, you got to jumpstart. You got to jumpstart your laptop.
Yet somehow it works.
Yeah, you got to get a screwdriver. You got to put across the leads there, and that'll just start her up. That'll start her up real good. What? Gary and Dino. It worked. That's the funny thing. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888-ASK. Leo, that's the phone number. 888-827-5536. I don't know what Gary and Dino. This is a radio show that's tagline, the Gary and Dino Show, the tagline is "Stupid served fresh." So I'm not sure I'd take their advice on jump-starting a laptop with a screwdriver. That seems odd. But if it works, okay. You could probably get it repaired. The thing about a 5-year-old laptop is, laptops take a lot of abuse. If you left it on the desk and you never went anywhere with it, it should last forever. It's the moving parts that go, switches, hard drives. Those are the things that go. And if you're, throwing it in a suitcase or carrying it around, the screen and the cable leading the screen often go too. I've not heard. Frankly, I've not heard of the power switch going out, but I guess, that's one thing you hit a lot. I never turn my laptops off. I just close them and let them go to sleep and then open them and they wake up. That's probably what I'd want to do. The fact that that kicking the cable out means the thing dies tells me the battery's also gone. See, the whole thing's falling apart. That laptop, man, that thing is in its 90s, equivalent of. Paul on the line from Columbus, Ohio. Hello, Paul. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Good afternoon. Got a question about a Wi-Fi router, but real quick, I wanted to comment. Yesterday, you had a guy on at the end from Akron who was trying to use some kind of a dictation program with his friend who was here.
Yeah, so he had this idea that if there was something that could run on, unfortunately, it had to be a tablet, but if there's something that could be running on a tablet, that when he would come in, he could just start talking, and it would start writing what he was saying.
All right, I need that myself because I'm visually impaired. My mother is practically deaf also, would be perfect, so I hope somebody does it.
There's issues with doing it, certainly on an Apple device, because you need to trigger it. Otherwise, it's going to be always... what you need is a trigger phrase. Now, the newest iOS devices, the new iPhone 6S and 6S Plus, are always listening. So you can... With those, you can say, hey, I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want to trigger anybody's phone. Her name is Siri.
Mm-hmm.
Siri. And you can say, hey, you-know-who. And I don't have great success with it, frankly, but half the time it'll wake up. And at that point, you can start talking, but you're talking to her, not to the dictation. So it would be nice if you could say, hey, we'll call her Shlomo. Hey, Shlomo, take a note. And then she would start writing in Notepad. Wouldn't that be cool?
You could do it like as a text type thing and just show it to the person instead of going to. But it would be awfully nice if there was some way to do it, because it makes life a whole heck of a lot easier. The other thing too, any visually impaired person that uses the iPhone products or iOS should hopefully know that the Apple TV is great for us too.
The new Apple TV.
Voiceover.
Yeah.
The voiceover. Yeah. And now with the Siri part and the voice commands, it'll be even better. Okay, now to my main thing. I've got UVerse at home. The Wi-Fi on their gateway modem, that they call it, is pretty crappy. It's slow, and my wife's about ready to throw me out. Pretty
typical of these Wi-Fi access points provided by the ISP.
Right. So I've got a separate router. It's a stronger Wi-Fi power and all, and I'm trying to connect that. I can, of course, turn off the Wi-Fi on the UVerse modem. That's no problem. I can get into that, and I plug the modem, the new router, into that gateway modem, and I'm trying to access it so that I can set it up in bridge mode.
Right.
Okay, but I plug it into a LAN Ethernet, connection on the existing UVerse modem.
Yeah.
And when I try to access the new one, I type in the 192.168.1.240.
The router's address,
Right, and it can't display the page. And there was another way to get into it by typing in www setup, and it's an air amp wireless, and it also says can't display the page. So I can't figure out how to access the darn thing to get it into the bridge mode.
Yeah. You'd have to do that before take that same Ethernet cable you're going into the router and do that directly to the UVerse router before you hook up the Wi-Fi router. The Wi-Fi router sounds like is getting in the way of your connection. But let me tell you this: you don't need. There's two things you can do. You could tell your Wi-Fi router to be in bridge mode, and let the which I would recommend, let the UVerse do DHCP.
Yeah, no, that's what I was doing.
But you can't get to your Wi-Fi router?
I can't get okay, so I'm leaving the UVerse modem gateway. Just all I'm doing with it is turning off the Wi-Fi on it, okay?
Yeah, I see. And you're trying to put bridge mode on your new router.
On the new router.
And you can't talk to your new router.
Right.
And
I can't plug it in directly to the connection, the coming into the house, because it's UVerse and it's combination of phone and all that.
Yeah, I understand. So you have to it's a little, the first time you set up a new Wi-Fi router, it's a little tricky because it's you have to join it. Have you joined it?
No,
on your Wi-Fi? You know what I'm saying?
I can't get into it at all.
Yeah, but so you don't see it in the drop-down menu?
Yeah, if I have it plugged in, I do see the wireless that there is a signal.
Yeah,
and it asked me for a password, but we tried to.
Oh, it asked you for a password.
Yeah.
It shouldn't ask you for a password. I'm not sure why it's doing that.
Yeah.
What brand is this new router?
It's an amped AMPED wireless.
Yeah. So apparently it was set with a password from the factory, which is unusual on a Wi-Fi router. Usually what they do is they arrive unlocked. You join it just by pulling it down. You may not even have internet access at that point, but you do have access to the router's setup. You can configure it, and then in bridge mode, you'll be able to get internet access, and all would be well. So you got to look at the amped manual and see what the default password is.
I did. I'm trying to
get
use
it new?
Take it. No, it's from an IT guy at my wife's employer.
He pre-configured it. I get it. So you need to reset it. So look in the amped manual for the reset.
Okay, the factory.
Yeah. So what that will do is put it back. I understand now. He's configured it, and unfortunately, he configured it in such a way you can't use it. So, but that's simple enough. All routers, because of this, have, generally speaking, there's on the back a recessed, difficult to see, small little button. You'll need to poke it with a pen or some sort of pokey device. Generally, the way these work is you at the same time as you're turning it on, you poke the reset button, and you continue to hold it, usually for 10 to 15 seconds, until the lights in the front start blinking rapidly or somehow indicate, hey, you've reset me. At that point, the manual applies. It won't have a password. You should be able to join it. You should be able to configure it as appropriate. That's all you have to do. You have to get rid of the settings that the guy you got it from put on there. That's all. Simple enough. AMP does have a default password for configuration, which should be in the manual. It's usually admin, but the point is it's not set as at the default yet or currently because the IT guy configured it and didn't remove that configuration until before he gave it to you. The reset takes 10 seconds, somebody is telling me. MechMan in the chat room says, I had one. My sister had one, and the reset, just hold that reset button for 10 seconds. That's pretty typical. More of your calls coming up. A friend of yours got detention from the computer teacher for using a paperclip to eject a stuck CD-ROM. What is this world coming to? Shocking. Somebody said, "Are you watching the Niners game?" Because I'm not doing my usual. Yes, I'm watching the Niners game. There's nothing to cheer about. I got something to cheer about. I love this thing. This is the Ring video doorbell. Have you heard me talk about this? Oh, I love it. So the idea here is this doorbell replaces your existing doorbell, or if you don't have to have a wired doorbell. This has a battery in it and it'll work without it. In fact, they even sell a separate chime that plugs into the wall and becomes your doorbell. But I had a wired doorbell. So I just took it off. There's 2 wires coming out of the door. All the tools I needed, including like a level and the screws and a screwdriver and a special bit, drill bit, everything to install the Ring video doorbell. Now, you pair that to your Wi-Fi, okay? Your doorbell rings it works exactly like it used to, but there's an addition to that now because it's on the internet. When somebody rings my doorbell at home, I can see them on this HD camera. I can hear them on the built-in microphone. I can even talk back to them from my smartphone. What? Yes, it's awesome. It has motion detection too, so I can set the range, and when somebody walks by, it'll record the walk by. I can tell when my daughter comes home late at night. Abby, you came in at 2:30 last night. I can tell the delivery man, leave the box on the curb. I'm in the bathtub. Well, this is awesome. Ring.com/techguy for free FedEx shipping. If I'd had any trick-or-treaters, I could have had some real fun with this last night. When I was looking, I was looking at my Ring, and I didn't have any trick-or-treaters last night, so I can't show you any. But the software is so awesome. I'll show you. They have iPhone, iOS, Android. It's so cool. So somebody rang our doorbell at 7:50 last night. This is probably not a trick-or-treater. It's the Domino's pizza guy. Yes, I ordered pizza last night. So, but that's awesome. I could say, hey, yeah, I'm here. Please leave the pizza on the front stoop or whatever. You can see it in crystal clear video. I love this thing. You think of it as caller ID for your house, and it saves you too, because burglars always ring the doorbell and when they come in the daytime to see if you're home before they break in the back. You could say, "What is it?" and they'll run. Ring.com. If you go to ring.com/techguy, you'll get free FedEx shipping just for watching. The Ring Video Doorbell, Time Magazine's one of their top 10 gadgets of 2014. This thing's great. Ring. Teespring.com/twit. And we have a very nice t-shirt for sale. These are our limited time t-shirts. There's only 9 days left. This one, Anthony Nielsen designed. I love it. I just love it. And they're only $20. We don't make a whole lot of money. I think it's a few bucks on them, but they're just great. Oh, I was going to try this. Let's see if this works. Hey Siri, take a note. See, she doesn't listen to me. Hey Siri, take a note. Take a note.
What would you like the note to say?
Well, I'd actually like to dictate a fairly long note to my hard of hearing spouse about why I am not going to be able to have a Halloween candy for lunch because I have a sandwich and I shouldn't be able to have any more sweets because Dr. Mom won't let me. And there you have it.
Taking a note. Okay, I created your note. It says, well, I'd actually like to dictate a fairly long note to hard of hearing spouse about why I am not going to be able to have a Halloween candy for lunch because I have a sandwich and I shouldn't be able to have any more sweets because DR Mom won't let me in.
DR Mom won't let me. And
Quite the
so
run-on
that's
sentence.
cool. That's cool. That kind of works. Well, I don't know. Siri only will I guess take so much. Take so much. But that worked. I mean, it's not exactly what we're looking for. I was hoping it would. How about if I did this? No, I don't think that'll work. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Open notes. Dictate. Yeah, see, now it needs to go into dictation mode. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet, home theater, digital photography. Yeah, photo guy Chris Marquardt joins us in about half an hour. And all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. We also have a great website, which is toll free. Just go to it. It's like the old days where you just surf to a website and you don't have to give them your information and it's just there. Wow. It's called techguylabs.com. No sign up required. techguylabs.com. Actually, that's really all you need to remember because everything I talk about ends up there, all the links, all the information, even audio and video of the show after the fact. techguylabs.com. The Halloween costumes getting all the attention in Silicon Valley. Guy walking around, and you know how I know this because Heather Hammond saw him. He was dressed as Hillary Clinton's email server. It's kind of a geek joke. It was a box, and you could press a button and it would spit out an email, which was pretty funny. And there was emails from Hillary to the president, and they were all kind of humorous. It was a good joke. He was just walking around in a box. It said, it had buttons on it and stuff, and it delivered confidential emails at any time. Just press a button. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's go back to the phones. Joe's in Maryland. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Leo. Long-time fan from the Tech TV days.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, I even have a Tech TV hat from your visit here in Baltimore.
Oh, man. Keep that. Those are rarer than hen's teeth.
Well, I got a tech question for you. Fourth Wi-Fi question of the day. We're going on a cross-country trip, and we want to put Wi-Fi in our car because my wife loves her iPad.
Yeah.
And we're wondering, how do you do it? We're not that bright.
No, that's a good question. In fact, later model cars, modern cars, are starting to do this. I just saw a Chevy Malibu ad on the World Series last night. It has Wi-Fi built into the car. It's using what I would recommend you use. In fact, it's silly to get it built into the car because it's so easy to do otherwise. It's using the cellular network. My Audi has a T-Mobile SIM in the Audi, and has 3G T-Mobile connectivity, so you can actually join its Wi-Fi network. But for my son, when he gets on the bus to go to a school event or whatever, and he wants to use, we've had to cut him off from the data because he's using the family sharing plan, and he's maxed us out several times now. So I bought a little, sometimes they call them MiFis. It's a little Wi-Fi access point that connects to the 3G or better yet, LTE network that the cell providers have, and then turns it into Wi-Fi so you can join it from your phone or your tablet or your computer. The trick is to figure out who's to get. So you want to kind of think about where you're going to be and where you're going and who has the best coverage map there.
Okay.
Now, generally speaking, the way this works, you go to Verizon or Sprint or AT&T and T-Mobile, and you'll buy the device. They cost around $100. And then you'll pay them a monthly fee that will give you, just like you do with your cell phone, that will give you a certain number of gigabytes. I have a device that's a little bit different. It works on the Sprint network, so you have to be going places where Sprint works, and they have a coverage map. It's called the Karma Go, and this was a Kickstarter, and I really like it. It's at yourkarma, KARMA.com, and it is a fairly small device, about the size of kind of a deck of playing cards, a little smaller than that, very thin. It connects to Sprint, but the thing I like that's different about this, and the reason I use it, is it's pay-as-you-go. So you don't have to pay for a monthly subscription fee. You just use it, and you'll buy more data. And it costs anywhere from $15 per gigabyte to $10 if you buy a lot at a time. So the only drawback on this is, unfortunately, it's Sprint right now, and that doesn't work in every area. They have a coverage map at yourkarma.com, and you can see how it is in the areas that you go. Sprint is building out their network. They just got bought by a giant Japanese company called SoftBank, and I think Sprint will get better and better. But I like this because the pricing model is fantastic. You only pay for what you use, and if you're willing to buy $100 at a time, it's $10 a gigabyte, which is about what the cell carriers charge. There's also a company called Freedom Pop that does something like this. So those are pay-as-you-go, or you can go get it from the carrier. Walmart apparently sells one for $50, and then you buy data cards. So that's also a pay-as-you-go. But this works great in the car, even as you're driving around, as long as you're not in highly rural areas that don't have cell data plans, right?
Well, thanks, Leo. That
You're welcome.
We really need it, because that's what my wife wants when we're going cross-country.
She's bored. She wants to use my wife, too. She wants to use her iPad. You can buy an iPad with a data plan, but this is much more flexible. You can have, I think, up to 8 devices attached to it, so everybody in the car can use it.
Yeah, and I think that comes out cheaper.
Yeah. Plus, you plug it in. I would plug if you have. I bring a battery pack, but if you have USB power in your car, it has a micro USB port, so it only has maybe 6 to 8 hours of battery life. But you can keep it charging, and then it goes forever.
Yeah, I got an SUV, so it's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. I think they're a little expensive. They're $150, but that's probably their profit, because I don't think they're making a lot of money on the data plan.
No, but it's good.
I like it. I'm very happy with it.
User too, so this works out.
Oh, then you'll like it. You know how Sprint works. Appreciate the call. It's we'll put it in the show notes. It's called the Karma Go, but the website is yourkarma.com. Roger is next from Virginia. Hi, Roger. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Okay. Problem I'm having, I downloaded 10 to my laptop, and now the Quick Start SSD does not work.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Quick Start is, was that the Intel technology, the speed up?
From sleep, so you get a quick start.
Yeah, I mean, who makes the laptop?
It's a satellite, Toshiba.
So this is the problem with any time you get a completely new operating system is support for all hardware. Did you get the offer to upgrade from Microsoft? It said, you can get it for free now?
No, I did not.
I never got that, yeah. My advice has been with Windows 10 to wait for that. Basically what Microsoft does is they, during Windows Update, they put a little thing on there that, and they've been doing this for months, that checks compatibility. And if you have a Windows 7 or 8 machine that is compatible with Windows 10, it'll offer it to you for free. If you don't, it won't. And generally, that's one way to tell. There's also a compatibility checker. The good news is Windows 10 is, Microsoft's already said it, never done. This is a new model for Microsoft that they're continually updating it. So there's a big kind of almost a service pack level update coming in November, this month. They call it codename Threshold 2, that will add capabilities, that will change it a lot. And then they continue to just push out all the time little updates for Windows 10 to do things like fix compatibility. So I don't know anything particularly about this Toshiba Quick Start, but you can search around and see if Microsoft supports it yet. I think Toshiba is a big enough laptop maker that they will. They just may not do it right now. So can you live without it for a little while?
Oh, yeah. It still works good.
Yeah.
And has plenty of speed while it is working and everything, whenever you once get it loaded up.
I love Windows. I've been very happy with Windows 10. To me, it's a retreat from the weirdness of Windows 8. I really like it. So, and of course, it's more secure. So I'd do it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. There are security issues, I'm afraid. Alas. Is that the thing where I wonder if that's the Intel, where they had a little SSD and a big spinning drive? Yeah, it's kind of up to Toshiba, of course, to provide those. Starts up, resumes fast, yeah. Here we go. And people have complained about slow booting on Windows 10. There is a fast startup feature that you might want to look at. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, episode 1234 of the continuing saga of the tech woes of the world. 1234. That's kind of cool. Somebody in the chat room said this won't happen again until episode 12,345. Yeah, you're right. Don't know if that's going to happen. It's taken me a while to get to 1,234. That's 10 years of shows. More than. Skip in Maryland. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Skip.
Help me, Leo Laporte. You're my only hope.
Help me, Obi-Wan. Oh, no. What's the matter, BB-8?
Windows 10. I've installed it. Like it. What I want to do is a clean install. Apparently, Windows within Windows 10 has a way to do that. And when I go ahead and do it, they ask me for a Microsoft password. When I give it the password, it says, that's not it. I've changed the password 3 times.
To your Microsoft account, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, the one you log into live.com and outlook.com with and all that.
Right.
Yeah, and you used it before and it worked?
I've never really had to. I mean, when I first installed Windows, I set the password, but I've since then gone in, reset the password, tried to log out of Windows again, and it says, no, wrong password. I was on the phone for 2 hours this morning with Microsoft, telling them I just want a clean install of Windows 10. And what he wanted to do is he told me, well, if I did that, I would need a whole new product key, and I would have...
No, he's wrong. Okay.
At that point, I just hung up.
Yeah, because you got an idiot, and so thank you, but no thanks. Yeah, that's good advice. When you get a moron on tech support, just hang up. Don't waste your time. After a while, you don't know what to do, what to trust. So here's the way Windows 10. Did you do the upgrade from? Obviously, you did from 7 or 8, right?
7.
7. So the way it works, and I verified this. And by the way, the expert on all this is Paul Thurrott. His website is thurrott.com, and he has articles there to describe how to do exactly what you want to do, which I think is a good thing. It's a clean install of Windows 10, so you don't have any cruft left over for Windows 7. You're starting fresh. And who wouldn't want to do that, right?
Right.
So the first thing to understand, and this is where the rep was completely wrong, once you take that upgrade, you have and I presume you did this, you have an activated version of Windows 10 now. You checked and it's activated. It should be.
Yes.
That activation is tied to that machine. It's not even tied to you. It's not tied to your Windows account. It's tied to that machine. So that's the first thing about this upgrade, this free upgrade plan. It is an upgrade of an existing machine running 7 or 8, and it is associated with that machine. You cannot, for instance, it's not associated with your account, because if it were, you could move it to another machine. You can't. It's that machine. You do not need a new number because it knows which machine it's associated with. So you don't need a new serial number for it. So
I had to explain that to the Microsoft rep.
Yeah, he was wrong. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So so the trick is, and I don't remember the steps, but Paul has it documented at Thurrott.com. You probably will want to get the ISO, which you can download freely from Microsoft. You probably already did that.
I made it as soon as I downloaded it onto my machine. Now, that's the second part of the question. Should I redo it again since updates have been applied since then?
No, because it'll update automatically. In fact, when I got the new Surface Book, Microsoft's own laptop, it came with the July 29th version of Windows 10 on it, the one they shipped first. And then it started doing update after update after update. So even on their new machines that they're shipping, the Windows 10 you get is the one you got on the ISO. Right. So you don't have to worry about that. The updates will happen automatically. Let me just go and pull up Paul's article, because I'm trying to remember the gist of it.
Just trying to figure out how to format the hard drive and then load the ISO.
So during the first year, Windows, I can upgrade for free. Okay. I'm just looking at his article. I'll put a link to the article in the show notes so you can read the thing. So Windows 10 should be able to find your PC's product key in the BIOS or the firmware, and that's how it's identifying it. So that's where the rep got it wrong, okay? You may have some activation issues. At least we all did early on, but I think it works now. So first, completely back up, obviously, because you don't want to lose any data, and this will wipe your drive. That's what a clean install does. Get the ISO, make a USB disk. You're actually going to make a repair disk, or download the ISO. I don't want, you know what, I'm walking through this. It's so complicated. There is at some point a recovery where you can say keep nothing and start over again.
Well, I was thinking that's what Windows 10 was trying to do with me through their own settings.
Yeah.
But then it kept asking me for a password. Then it says,
yeah, it shouldn't ask you for a password. I'm not sure why it's doing that. And I'm not sure that that's Windows 10. It could be something else. You know, you might look at this always confuses me. When I install Office on my Mac, I can't activate it with my Office subscription, which is my Microsoft account. I have to give it a application-specific password, which I have to generate on the Microsoft account. This is a Microsoft program, and it still doesn't understand, apparently, two-factor authentication. So I'll tell you what. If you go to Thurrott.com and you search for Windows 10 Clean Install, you'll find this article. I'll put it in the chat room right now, which means James DeRuvo will put it in our show notes, and you can refer to it. It's a step-by-step. It's actually very complete, and I can't recap it all in my mind right now. There is a recovery. If you hit the Windows key and you start typing recovery, there is a recovery control panel that has several things, one of which is effectively a clean install. It's wipe everything off and start over. In any event, I've put it in the chat room. You might want to read it before you go ahead, and of course back up your data when you do a clean install. But we do, I think in general, recommend a clean install. Of any time you have a big operating system upgrade and you're jumping a version, you're going from 7 to 10, clean install is always the best way to do it. And by clean install, we mean wipe the drive, format the drive. Even if you wish, repartition the drive. Start from scratch, nothing on that drive. Install Windows 10, run all the updates, and at that point you'll get to the current version of Windows 10. And after that, you can restore your data, and you should be good to go. Somebody in the chat room saying maybe you have multiple Microsoft accounts. I'm sure you've tried that. I don't think that's it. I'm not sure why it's asking for that. It should not ask for that. Because as I said, the Windows 10 you have is associated not to you, not to your Microsoft account, but to your machine. I mentioned I put this on the show notes. That's at techguylabs.com. Thank you, James DeRufo. He's copying it right now from our chat room. That's at irc.twit.tv. Putting it in the show notes. Later in the day, Josh Windish is going to add audio and video from the show. You can go hour by hour, show by show, day by day, question by question, and you get everything that happens on the show, so you don't have to write anything down. Even the chat room and the phone number, they're all there. techguylabs.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Might want your admin. I don't know. Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Are you in the, I almost want to say unenviable position of doing the hiring at your company? But you know, that's actually the most important job at a company, the person who hires. That's the person who really forms the personality, the culture of the company. That's the person who can make or break your company. And if that's you, you want to do a good job with it. Fortunately, the internet is an empowering tool that lets you do a lot of things easier, and hiring is one of them. I'm going to go to ZipRecruiter.com/techguy right now and show you what ZipRecruiter does. You know, the internet has made it possible to hire through job boards, and there are lots of them out there, but there's always this question of, well, which job board should I use, and how many job boards should I use, and should I use Craigslist and social networks like Twitter and Facebook? And well, we can cut through all of this and make it easy for you. ZipRecruiter.com/techguy. One listing goes to 100+ job boards, including Craigslist, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, including all of those sites. And that way, you're going to get access to the entire pool of prospective employees, so you can pick the right candidate. You want to get in front of everybody, and this makes it possible. But you might say, well, wait a minute, I don't want 1 million resumes and 1 million emails and calls. No, all the candidates go into the ZipRecruiter interface, including, by the way, you have access to 6 million current resumes. So within 24 hours, you're going to have plenty of applications in that interface. The interface gives you the option to screen and rate your candidates quickly. See, with the star system and the screening system, eliminate people for any number of reasons, and then hire the right one fast. In a couple of days, you will have an employee who's going to build your business, who's going to make your business better, who's going to make your job easier. You post once, and within 24 hours, candidates will be rolling into ZipRecruiter's interface. No matter 400,000 businesses use ZipRecruiter, and you could try it right now for free. We got an email from Scott. He was a happy ZipRecruiter client, said, the recruiting process used to be so painful. Before, I'd post to several places, I'd get 1 million resumes, but only a few responses from qualified candidates. It was torture. You know how he feels, don't you? But with ZipRecruiter, we post once and get qualified candidates in one easy-to-review place. And this is the most important part. We have hired some of our best employees using ZipRecruiter, and that's really what it's all about. Try it free for 4 days right now. ZipRecruiter.com/techguy. ZipRecruiter.com/techguy. We thank them so much for their support of the Tech Guy podcast. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk to Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, digital photography guru, professional photographer, podcaster with his tips from the top floor, and a great teacher in photography. He does photography workshops all over the world, including not just the U.S., but Nepal and Ireland. And he joins us right now from his viewfinder villa in Hanover, Germany. Hello, Chris Marquardt.
Hi, Leo. How's it going?
I'm going great. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I just finished holding a workshop over the weekend, a film photography workshop of all things.
Back to film, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I interviewed for our new Screensavers show yesterday a monster maker. He's one of the best makeup artists in the world. Does Walking Dead. He's worked with Quentin Tarantino on many of his movies, all of his movies. And I asked him, and he said, you know, the great directors are still using film.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
He said, I hate digital because it makes the makeup effects so much harder to look real. Film has this magical look, at least in the movies, And Tarantino uses it. The new Star Wars, of all things, you'd expect that to be filmed
J.J.
digitally.
Abrams
J.J.
shoots
Abrams,
everything on film. Yeah.
film, baby. So film's not dead, but it is a lot more expensive, right?
Well, not really. I mean, look at how you can. Well, okay. Let's do a little math here. You go and buy a new DSLR with a kit lens. That'll set you back, I don't know, $500, $600,
or in my case, like $10,000. Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah, but you're different. You're different than the rest of us.
Well, yeah.
But now go on eBay, pick up an SLR for $10. Have it cleaned and repaired for another $50. You paid $60 for that.
Yeah.
That's a tenth. That's a tenth of what you would have paid for the digital camera. That leaves a lot of space to buy some film, get some film developed, or actually start doing your own development.
Do people still make film?
Yeah, well, Kodak, Fuji,
Really?
Ilford. There's actually there was a Kickstarter project for the Italian Ferrania, which is an old traditional film manufacturer who they kind of revived the factory. ADOX, a European filmmaker, just bought an old film production facility from Ilford. They want to make new film.
Ilford. I used to use Ilford for black and white. Was my that and Plus X, the very slow Kodachrome. Kodak films were great black and white, and then I used Fuji for people because it just did a really good job with people. So you can still get those
skin tones and things.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, film has had its heyday. It's over that. It was sometime in the middle of the 90s when film had its peak, but it is really there's a bit of a resurgence actually. Have you seen the Audi commercial for Halloween where they made pinhole cameras out of pumpkins, placed them around an Audi car, and shot individual shots from around like 20 cameras around, and made that into a GIF with a pinhole picture of the Audi circling and around. You see film so much right now. So there's a bit of a comeback. There's a bit of a resurgence at this point.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear it. And as you point out, I mean, you can get cameras that I used to covet. I mean, Nikon FMs and stuff. That I used to covet these cameras. Well, they're cheap now because nobody wants them.
That's one of the things that brought me back into analog photography, into film photography, is that I was always looking at these medium format cameras, these Hasselblads and the Mamiyas and things when I was younger. But of course, I couldn't afford these things.
Right.
And when digital came along, all of a sudden the prices for those used cameras just dropped so much that all of a sudden I could get my hands on this. And then I found out what it means to shoot with a bigger format than just 35 millimeters. And yeah, well, we all know where this ended. Now I'm shooting large format 4x5.
And that's really expensive in digital. Those are very expensive cameras. What would you recommend? Should I run out and get a Rolei or a Hasselblad?
Well, again, those are definitely in the affordable realm at this point. It kind of depends what you want. I mean, there's the aspect of nostalgia, for example. So the old Rolleiflexes, the two-eyed cameras, those look really cool, very old, almost steampunk, you know. But then there are newer ones as well that are modern, that have light meters built in, that have winders built in, so you don't have to forward the film yourself.
But let's be honest, the picture is not going to look as good as a digital picture, is it? Is it going to be as crisp, as rich, as powerful? And what do? You can't. You'd have to scan it in to do Photoshop on it, right?
Of course. I mean,
you're going to make it digital after you take it on film?
Of course. So, film photography, I mean, this is one of the questions that I get a lot. It's like, okay, are you just one of those hipster guys?
Yeah, it's like record players, right?
Yeah. But, the working with film is... It slows you down. And I completely admit there is an element of nostalgia there. I mean... Yeah. Have you ever had one of these Hasselblads and heard the sound of it?
Yeah, I've always wanted one my whole life.
So there is a bit of an element of that, but the thing I was pretty quickly over that. But the thing I found is that
and then you have to turn it to wind.
Well,
you take a picture and you have to go.
Of course, but you know what? Slowing down and having to think about things again that you haven't thought about for long, like how to do proper exposure. Some of those old cameras do not have a light meter. So you have to kind of learn about this. And yes, your digital camera will take a lot of these decisions for you, but by being able to make those decisions yourself, by learning about these things and really kind of getting... It's almost like learning how to repair a car or something, you know? The mechanics of things are so important for
cool.
It'll help advance your photography.
Now, do I have to build a darkroom? Do I have to get I don't know what happened to my Bessemer enlarger and my tanks of chemicals.
Here's what we did on the weekend. We developed film. So we shot film, we developed film, and that you do that in a tank. It's a black small tank that you do this in. You put the film in there in a so-called changing bag, which is a black bag that you can do these things in your kitchen in daylight pretty much. You develop film, you take it out of this little tank, no darkroom required, and then you can scan it, or if you have a good macro lens, you can put it on a light source. Maybe some people put it on their iPad that they put a white surface on, as a backlight, and just photograph this with a macro.
So I don't have to do the developer anymore. I can just... I have to develop it, but I don't have to do the printing anymore.
The enlargement.
Yeah.
You can do this. We will probably at one point get to that point, actually. We're just in the process of finishing our darkroom, so there will be a bit of that coming back here. But at this point, you know me. I'm a bit of a geek. I'm digital myself, so I certainly want to take those pictures over into the digital realm and then work on them in Lightroom, in Photoshop.
How's the resolution? Does it look pretty good? Is it?
Well, the interesting thing is the resolution, the kind of how much grain you get in a film or how fine grained it is, that really depends, for example, on how you develop it, what developer you use, how much you agitate it during development, what temperatures you develop it at. There are lots of factors that go into that. You can get film really fine grained, and then if you look at the medium format 6x6 centimeters, which is pretty large, and you scan that with good resolution, it's easy to get 50 or 100 megapixels out of those.
Now I'm intrigued. Now I'm intrigued. Although I might want to get back to that stinky darkroom. I like the privacy.
Well,
it was nice.
You know what? A bit of that is like meditation.
Hey, what's our assignment this week? We're almost out of time. What's the assignment this week?
The assignment is orange.
Orange.
No pumpkins, please.
Details to come. Chris Marquardt, discoverthetopfloor.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Don't go away. All right, so what should I get?
What do you want?
I would love a Hasselblad.
Well, then get one. Hasselblad 6x6, 600, Mamiya 645. Even if you just play with it a bit and then put it up on a shelf, but it's gonna be it'll actually look really good behind you.
I know.
In the set.
I know. So you can go to eBay and get an old Hasselblad.
Let me find one for you. eBay.com.
I'm looking at some that are expensive. There are thousands of dollars. Not relative to what
no,
they
you
used
don't have
to
to spend
cost.
that much. Go buy a used one. Go to KEH.com.
Oh, KEH has them.
KEH.com. They have excellent condition used cameras.
Yeah, see, that's what I want. Something that, because otherwise you can get mold in these. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong.
Let me see. Purchase, shop by category. We are looking at large, medium format cameras. Oh, they brushed up their website pretty good. That is nice.
Oh, look at the Bronicas.
And you know the interesting thing is if you look at the Hasselblad, the 500C bodies, they are so modular. You can really piece them together, a different back.
It's only $200 for the body.
Well, you can put a digital back on that if you want to.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, you cost me so much money.
But no, wait. eBay.com. Let's see. We'll find
this
you.
This isn't that bad, but this doesn't include anything. They're going to have to get a lot of other stuff.
That's why I'm going on eBay. I'll find you a Mamiya 645 medium format camera with an 80mm lens for $350.
What? Sold. It's probably got mold in the lens, though, right? I mean,
no, no. That's a pretty normal price for a used Mamiya.
Nobody wants them, huh? Yeah, people want the name brand, the Hasselblad or the Rolleiflex.
Yeah, but Mamiya used to be a knockoff, or is a knockoff of the Hasselblad.
Right.
But they are. Wow,
these are cheap.
Beautiful, good.
So what lens should I get?
Well, the normal lens, the lens, on an SLR, the 50 millimeter is what's called the normal lens.
Right.
On a medium format camera, that would be an 80 millimeter lens.
And where do you get the film?
That's rare.
Oh, yeah, B&H, for example.
They sell medium format film?
Of course they do. Well, that's 120 film. That's roll film.
Oh.
Photo.
Photo. Okay.
BNHphoto.com.
Okay.
Go.
So what did you say normal was? 80?
80 millimeters for a medium format camera is the normal
thing. Look at this. This is so cool looking. $229. Oh my God, is that cool?
Go ahead. Go
I mean,
get one.
Get it.
Get one of. Which one is that?
That's a Mamiya C33 with an 80
millimeter.
Oh, the
C33.
lens.
That's a tank. You can kill someone with that.
Fully functional, cosmetically excellent.
Beautiful.
$229 because no one wants it.
And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be in a decent condition. If not, you might have.
So I'm out a couple $100, and I get somebody to fix it.
A CLA on that will set you back $50 maybe.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Oh my God! And you look. This is the one where you shoot down. You look down through the
top-down viewfinder. Yep.
Oh, and it's probably all manual, right?
We call that belly button photography because you hold a camera in front of your belly.
Right.
It's
there are
probably
12 Hasselblads on the surface of the moon, according to Petapixels. So, should I go 4x5?
No. Medium format. Mamiya 645. The C33 is a TLR, twin lens reflex. Pretty good. But the one on the top, that you just saw there. That's the 645.
Oh, but that looks like a regular camera.
Well, yes, it is, but and this even has like a prism viewfinder.
Oh, wait a minute. Here's one. Oh, that's cool. All right, well, I better go now before I spend all my money. Thank you, Chris.
Sure, take care.
Take care. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, who got Chris off just in the nick of time. I was this close to buying a film camera. Our assignment is orange, but no vegetables, so no pumpkins or anything like that. What is the assignment? That means we just ask you to go out and take a picture. It could be your camera phone, doesn't have to be anything fancy. The idea is to get you out taking pictures. So illustrate the word, the concept, the idea, orange in some way. No vegetables, no oranges or pumpkins. And then when you get an image you like, submit it to our Flickr group. That's flickr.com. The group is called The Tech Guy or Tech Guy Group. You'll know you're in the right place because it's big. There's thousands of pictures, tens of thousands of users. Renee Silverman's our moderator. She'll welcome you in. And then once you can do up to one picture a week. We give you 4 weeks to do it. So pick your best images, tag them with the word orange, and then in a couple of weeks, I think it's about 3 weeks off now, we're going to review images. And there's no prize. It's just the idea is get you out there taking pictures. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number to call. Tyler is on the line from Palmdale, California. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, it's great to talk to you. I'm a huge fan of not only this show, but all you do on the Twit Network. You guys do an awesome job.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I was just going to plug it. Twit.tv on the web. TWIT stands for This Week in Tech.tv.
I did have a question for you. I'm in a progressive rock band, and we're currently working on our first album. It's taking a little bit of time, and while we're in the process of finishing it, we want to release our own free EP of 3 songs on our website.
Smart.
And computer downloads are easy, but what we're having trouble with is the iOS system. We cannot figure out a way to get somebody to easily download an MP3 onto their either iPhone or iPad.
Yeah. What you want to do, that's an interesting question. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no problem with iOS playing MP3s. That's not a problem. The problem is that it's hard to get applications to talk to one another. I mean, you can if your user is sophisticated, they could figure it out. They have to,
right?
But you have to slide it down and you have to share it over to you. I mean, it's complicated, and you'd like it just to be simple because press a button and they get it.
Yeah.
You know what I would probably do instead, and this would benefit you anyway, is put your music on somewhere like SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm.
SoundCloud is YouTube for audio, basically. There are others which are great, but SoundCloud I think is the one I would suggest. First of all, you're going to like putting something on YouTube. You're going to be exposed to a much larger community, and that's what you want. You're giving these away. You want to make sure that everybody hears them. SoundCloud, there are paid accounts, but probably if it's just 3 songs, you could do it for free. And instead of linking to a download, you link to SoundCloud on your website. You can actually have a little player on your website. SoundCloud has an embeddable player, which is nice. And then somebody on iOS will just, if they click that link and they have the SoundCloud app, it'll download in the app. Let SoundCloud figure it out, in other words.
Okay.
And I think there's an advantage to doing this. It's not a workaround. It's an advantage. It's the same reason you'd put videos on YouTube and then embed them on your website. A, you don't have to worry about the bandwidth. B, you're exposing yourself to a much larger community. People might find you, use the right tags, promote it. That's going to get you a larger audience, which is ultimately your goal. People don't have to find your website. What's the name of the band?
It's Aeon Satori.
Is it kind of like Dream Machine, kind of, or?
We're trying to be more like Genesis and Yes, but those are
my favorite bands of all time. Yeah. So you're kind of retro progressive rock. I like it.
Yeah, kind of epic stuff. Rush and all them.
Oh, how do you spell it? Because we're trying to find it now.
Let's do. We have a simple address. ILikeProg.com. So Prog is short for progressive.
I like Prog. Who doesn't?
Thumbs up, Facebook, kind of thing.
I like Prog. Yeah, because when you spell it AEONSATORI, that's yeah.
I know it can get a little tricky.
Yeah, but I think I like Prog. See, you're smart. You know what you're doing. So right now you have the free downloads. It's easy on a computer, right? You just click or right-click and download, and it's a simple thing to do. If you had but you don't have playback on the website. If you had the embedded SoundCloud, I could listen without downloading. I could download, and you'd have that larger community.
Right. Now, it is on Android. We don't have any Android devices to test with. Is that kind of the same deal?
Let me try it on an Android device. I think it would be. I don't think Android has any issue with that.
Okay.
Android, you'd pick a player. You'd be listening to it on the player because it plays after it downloads, and then that player would say, it exposes it a little bit more easily. There's a save it to my drive so I can listen to it. The reason it's hard on Apple is Apple doesn't want apps to have access to other apps' storage. So the only way you can download a file and then save it to iTunes, which is what you'd want to do, is if the apps talk to one another. And Safari does talk to iTunes, but they have to know where to go. You have to go to the share sheet and you have to say save it to iTunes, and it's complicated. And most people, even if they're iPhone users, don't even know about it.
Yeah.
And that's a security thing. Apple wants to keep everything in its own space, and it is more secure, but it's also less convenient. So let me say, I'm going to try this on the Android right now. ILikeProg.com, right?
Yep.
All right. And I'm going to my Android. I'm using Chrome on Android. I'm going to go to the free downloads. I'm going to click that link. Again, SoundCloud would make this a lot easier. And what you also want to do is make it very easy for somebody just to listen, not download and listen, but listen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So SoundCloud, you get a player embedded in there. Okay, I'm downloading it. You're on SoundCloud.
Yeah, we just haven't incorporated their actual player. We were using a different service at this point. But
there you go. So you're halfway there. Just incorporate their player.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that would make it easier for iOS folks as well.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, good luck.
So much.
I like Prog. I do. You've named some of my favorite bands right there: Genesis and Yes and Love Rush. Thank you for the call. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Leo. Really appreciate it.
This is the new thing, by the way. If you're, it's tough to get a label. The question is, do you need a label anymore? You read the biographies of people like Keith Richards and the Rolling Stones. All they wanted, their whole dream as they're coming up is, if we could only get a label to record our stuff. And part of the reason was it was $100,000 or more to make an album, so you had to have a label. Now you make it on your laptop. You distribute it for free on SoundCloud. You got a website. What does the label do? Basically, the only thing label does that you may not be able to do is get airplay. You get on the radio. And while that still is important, I don't know if it's a reason to hold off on your career until you get a label to sign you. I think you should go out there and do it on your own. And there's such opportunity now to reach an audience directly with your website, at your concerts. It's just I feel like we live in amazing times right now. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Last hour of the show coming up in just a little bit. We'll talk about anything that's on your mind. 888-827-5536. And I would also point you to the website, techguylabs.com. A great place to catch up on anything you missed or didn't write down on the show. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Our show today brought to you by Epson. Let's talk printing. I know you've heard me talk about these new Epson printers, the precision core technology that's come down from the industrial technology that's so amazing. Now I want to talk to you about a precision core printer with enough ink so that you won't be buying ink for a couple of years. Depending on how much you use it. We're talking the Epson EcoTank printers, epson.com/EcoTank if you want to find out more. This is, I think, frankly, a very brave, bold move by Epson to forego a little bit the traditional model of selling the printer very inexpensively and making it up in the ink. These printers come with the ink in an EcoTank, and a lot of ink, I might add. 2 years of ink. If you take a look at the ET4550, very affordable printer, precision core technology, so you get two-sided printing, 30-page auto document feeder, laser quality black text, and it prints literally seconds per page. I love this printer. Very vivid colors. Easy wireless printing too. It is a Wi-Fi printer. You can print right from your tablet or your phone. I'm a huge fan, and it comes with 2 years of ink. That's 11,000 black pages, 8,500 color pages. And when you have to replace the ink, it comes in ultra low cost replacement bottles. This is a brilliant idea. Customer first, folks. I'm really happy with the EcoTank printers. Convenience and value, and the entire range of them goes from the smallest, least expensive to the most heavy duty. The 4550 is kind of the mid-range business printer. But if you're doing a lot of printing, look at this beast. This is the WFR 4640, 20,000 pages. 20,000 pages of ink in there with a 500 sheet tray. That's a ream of paper, right? What is that? 40 reams of paper before you have to buy new ink. Check it out, Epson.com/EcoTank, the new way to print in your home or your office or work group. It'll transform your understanding of what printing is all about. I'm very happy. We don't have an EcoTank yet. I've got to buy one. We have the Precision Core, though. Love those workforce printers. Epson.com/EcoTank. We thank Epson so much for their support, the Tech Guy podcast, and, to be frank, for the vision to give customers what they want. I think that's awesome. Epson, exceed your vision.
Leo.
Johnny.
Did you see the new crescent of Pluto picture that came out this week?
No.
Go to Slate, go to Bad Astronomy. Phil Plait does a great job.
Oh, but first, let's look at this Audi commercial with the pinhole pumpkins, because I promised I would play this. Man, I got to get a film camera. Look at that resolution. That's kind of a neat ad, though. Yeah.
Hey, Slate, bad astronomy, Phil Plate.
Slate, bad astronomy, Phil Plate.
And then he's got a link to the large version of the picture.
We have.
Must click on.
Very bright fireball over Europe. Halloween asteroid bigger than expected. Lamar Smith. I love Phil Platt.
There it is.
There it is. Crescent Pluto.
Yeah. And then there's a link to the large version.
Wow. Yeah. Pluto's pretty. Oh, this was last September. No. It said New Horizons released it one in September. Thanks to new processing work by New Horizons, here's the entire breathtaking image. Wow.
Yeah. So
let's all go to Pluto.
And then scroll over to the left. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. You mean the right? Oh, look at that. Oh. Ooh, let's move in.
Isn't that awesome?
Wow, that's really neat. Now, this isn't a JPEG artifact.
No, that's real.
It's got layers of...
That they are... He says in the article, Phil Plate's article says what that is. But
Wow, is that cool?
That's so cool.
I want that as a screen, a desktop.
But it's all black except for the little crescent. But, oh, man.
I'm putting that in my wallpaper folder. I have a wallpaper folder. Whenever I see something I really like.
I did too.
Yeah. Yeah, put that in my desktop wallpaper folder. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, there's something you'd like to know about technology, that's what we're here for. And it's not just me. I say we because while I've been doing this for 20 years, and I certainly can, well, all right, 23 years, and I certainly can answer many questions. I don't think there's anyone alive who could answer every question about technology, but I guarantee you, between the 1 million people listening, the 1,000 people in the chat room, and me, we probably could find an answer to almost any question. 8888 Ask Leo. The website is techguylabs.com. Steve is on the line from Chino Hills, our next caller. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I've been dying to ask you a question. Hopefully you can help me out.
All right.
I have a security camera DVR. Has HDMI output, and I've put that into a HDMI splitter because I want to watch it on a TV in a bedroom and a TV in the living room. The extenders I've gone through a couple of them, they use the Cat 5 cable.
Yeah, they're called baluns. Yeah.
Yes. I keep losing a signal on the TV that's the furthest away.
Yeah.
And I'm having problems with it. Is there a better way to get the video out to the other TV?
Well, there are other ways. I usually recommend balance. The idea is, of course, HDMI will not throw for very far. I mean, you really don't want to go more than probably 6 meters with an HDMI cable. And it's a digital cable, so that means it doesn't degrade. It just stops working. So as the longer you get, the more likely you're going to have exactly what happens, which just goes black. The way a balun works is it has an amplifier on one end, and it takes the HDMI signal, amplifies it, sends it down an Ethernet cable. It's not Ethernet, but it is an Ethernet cable, and then that can go farther because it's an amplified signal, and then you have a receiver at the other end. You know,
and I've even tried the receivers the transmitter and receiver that have power on both ends, and it's still giving me problems.
How far is the farthest?
I think it's about just under 200 feet.
Yeah, you're right at the edge there. That's a long way.
Yeah.
You know, you can always go RF. In other words, send a radio signal, and that'll go a lot farther.
Well, I found something called a matrix that uses the Cat5 cable. Not sure about.
Yeah, I don't know. The chat room's saying if you use a Cat6 cable, a higher quality cable, you should be able to go at least 200 feet. I would go to Monoprice and look at their baluns. BALUN is the price. See what they're spec'd out for.
Okay.
I see a 100-meter extending kit that's 328 feet.
Okay.
So I think it's really just getting the right amplifier and a better quality cable, a Cat6 cable.
Right. Okay. And if I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What's your favorite Android phone right now?
Well, I'm going to reserve judgment until I get the new Nexus 6P. I suspect that will be my choice.
Okay. I have the Note Edge right now.
Yeah, I have an S6 Edge. I have a Note 5. I would say of the two, my favorite is the Note 5. It has 4 gigs of RAM. That seems to make a big difference in Android. As good a cameras out there, I think the Note 5 is excellent. I like the stylus. The size is good. But the reason you want to... LG, the G4 is good, and they just came out with an interesting new V10. Yeah, it's got a stainless steel, or maybe just a regular steel frame. So that's why you see the ads for it dropping, because they say, well, you can drop it. As long as it hits the edge, you're good. Because it's got a steel frame. It's got a weird front-facing dual selfie camera, one wide angle, one normal. LG's cameras are very good. The G4 had an excellent camera. And these have removable batteries. So... to me, the biggest issue on Android is battery life. I carry an iPhone 6S right now, the 6S Plus, and that battery goes all day, and I'm usually getting in bed with 30 or 40% left, and I love that. And that's, to me, the most important thing, and I have yet to find a Note 5 won't do it, S6 won't do it, an Android device that will do that. The last Android phone I had that went all day was the old OnePlus One. And that's last year's model. But I apologize because I won't be getting my Nexus 6P, the new Nexus phone from Google, until for a couple of weeks. But that has a giant battery, 3,450 milliamp hours. Plus the new Marshmallow does a very good job in idle. That battery should be good. Now, the reason I like the idea of a Nexus phone is you're guaranteed to always have the latest version of Android. That's important.
What I like.
That's really important, especially for security. And then they don't burden it with any, additional software overlays as Samsung and LG do. The LG software leaves a lot to be desired. I feel like the Note 5 is pretty close to pure. It's relatively pure for Samsung.
My Note Edge has been trying to get this update from AT&T for the past month, and it's been airing out when it goes to the install, and now it's just burning through the battery every now and then.
I would look at the reviews. I'm behind because I bought it, and I bought it late, like 3 hours after they started offering it, and so I'm not getting it till November 7th through 10th. So I got a ways to wait. But those of my colleagues who've reviewed it have really said good things about the 5P and the 5X.
And the 6P. Cameras on those are
they're supposedly very good. Now, I think we're at a point now where there are minor differences between all these cameras, but I think anything in the top line is going to be good. This is a big change for Android. It's a 12 megapixel. It's very large pixels, 1.55 micron. They're using laser focusing. They're missing one thing that really helps in low light: optical image stabilization. And I think that's a mistake on Google's part. It also does not support SD, so you have to buy enough memory, either a 64 or 128. It does not support removable battery, so it better have good battery life because you can't swap it. That's something the V10 does, and the G4 allows you to do on the LG side. But I hate LG software, and I found that the extra software overlay slows it down a lot.
Yeah. So, I saw a sneak peek of the S7 that's coming out maybe end of the year. The Galaxy.
Yeah, they're gonna advance the S7. They typically release these in the spring at Mobile World Congress. They're going to do this a little bit sooner.
Yeah, my problem is I love gadgets, so.
Oh man, you're talking
new because
you're talking to the worst. I get antsy if I use the same phone for a month.
Yeah,
that's
too.
Fortunately, my job supports my habit. In fact,
you're lucky.
Be honest with you, it's back in 1987 when I decided to become a tech journalist. That was the main reason, because I wanted to be able to play with the newest stuff all the time.
Right.
And this is not the last 30 years have not been good for that. I'm kind of hooked on it, but nevertheless, I think that I would guess that, not having used it, but based on reviews, the 6P will be the best Android phone out there. The Nexus 6P, it's big, 5.7 inches. The next best phone, I would say, is Samsung's Galaxy Note 5. Really like that phone a lot. I wouldn't. Those are the only two I would even consider in the Android space. And I have to say, I've been very impressed with the latest iPhone, and I like the big one, the 6S Plus, because that's got really massive battery.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for your info.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for the call.
Day.
Yeah. It's an interesting area, because this is the most personal of personal computers, isn't it? So it's a good idea to read all the reviews, really think about it, try them if you can. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, you don't have to track how much I spend on phones. It's a lot. But I'm budgeted for that. I asked the boss. I said, in fact, about 3 months ago, I said, I can't, oh no, here comes another round of phones. I can't deal with it. Can I just stay with the phone I have? She said, no, you have to buy them all. How many people have wives that say that?
I feel so sorry for you.
You should. It's a pain in the...
As I sit here with my over 2-year-old
Well, it's
phone.
time for a new phone for you,
know.
I have to say. But hang around me long enough, you'll probably get one.
I will. I'm waiting until they get to Costco. Going into one of those phone stores.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it?
Is the worst experience.
They're the worst.
It's like another level of hell. And Costco is really actually very easy.
Good. Which phone are you? Your Moto X?
This is the HTC One.
Oh, that's right, the one.
M7, the original.
Yeah. Don't get another HTC.
No,
I think that's the end of the line on those.
I did the
guys.
Thunderbolt and then this one, and that's it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I have to say I've been very happy with this. I'm not crazy. I don't like iOS that much, but this phone has really been.
I'm about 99% with that, except for there's some camera things that I'm trying to figure out.
People still think that Apple makes the best cameras. I'm not sure that's true anymore.
I love the pictures that this phone takes, and there's a certain setting for cloudiness where you can really capture the colors of sunrises and sunsets. And I looked on the Apple phones there, and I don't see anything like that. So I'm not sure I'm going to get.
There's an excellent program called Snapseed that will let you do, and it's free from Google, that will let you do all of that with the picture after you take it, because that's just saturation
on an iPhone.
Yeah, it's called Snapseed. It's on iPhone and Android. It has all the filtering that you need.
I don't consider it filtering.
It is filtering. It is. It's saturating. It's turning up the saturation.
But it's just making it look like it actually looks in real life, as opposed to.
That's right. That's all Photoshop does. Right. That's all that's happening. It's not a filter. It's applying things. Yeah, the Lumias will probably have the best cameras. I mean, based on the photos I've seen from the new 950 XL. But the problem with that is it's Windows Phone, and it's hard for me to recommend Windows Phone to anybody at this point. So I can't wait. My heart's been broken many times. I'm very hopeful on this Nexus 6P, but my heart has been broken. It was broken by the OnePlus 2. I was very disappointed with that. Buy a Hasselblad and put a digital back on it. Thank you, Richard. You're trying to make me a poor man. Yeah. Well, one of the advantages of getting an iPhone from Apple or a Nexus from Google is you can get it unlocked. You don't have to deal with a carrier at all. It's a much better buying experience. But I don't know. I do not know. what you should do. Which is a great problem. Yeah, I was not happy with the G4. I didn't, battery life was not great. I did have an extra battery, but I don't like that either. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And as long as we're talking about buying new phones, you might want to keep a little money aside, or a lot. The iPad Pro, it looks like will be out November 11th, 11/11. And that's coming from a number of sources. It's pretty much, I would say, when you see everybody saying, my sources say the same thing, you kind of get the feeling this is the case. So pre-order anyway, 11/11, although my impression is you'll actually be able to walk into a store and pick up an iPad Pro. That's the big iPad with the big pencil. So yes, it comes with a pencil. No, it doesn't. You have to buy it, but you're going to get it. And you should include that in the price because that's like a big part of the iPad Pro experience. Be interesting. This is Apple's attempt to kind of jumpstart the iPad marketplace, which has been slowly tailing off over the last couple of years. Fewer and fewer people buying iPads, mostly because the people who want iPads have them, and there's no real compelling reason to get a new one. So I think Apple's hoping a giant size 12-inch iPad with a pencil for drawing might really do well. We shall see. 8888 Ask Leo. Chris, Florida. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Leo.
Hey.
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 Hey. So, I don't want to talk about Whole Foods Market today. I wanted to talk about Apple's new music. Well, actually, Whole Foods has been...
No, Whole Foods.
We're not going there today. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that to you. My question to you is, I have an iPad Air 2 now. I'm waiting for you to get the Pro so I can see whether to get it or not.
Yeah, well, I'll have to. I don't want to.
I want you to get it. I want you to spend that money.
That's my job.
I know. I like that about you.
And the federal government gives me a nice tax break to do it. So in a way, you're paying me to do this too.
That's okay. I don't have a problem.
1/1,000,000 of 1 cent.
I want you to be wealthy and have all the goodies in the world, Leo.
You're very kind. Thank you, Chris.
I know.
At least we're aligned in that.
We're always aligned in that.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Okay, so in the music app on our iOS devices, I can't now find how many songs I have. I can do it in iTunes on my Mac, but I can't do it in the iOS music app, and I don't know why, and Apple says they don't have an answer for this.
Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, when you look in your iTunes, you can see, and you can even see on your iPad. Let me go to my music, and I think the trick would be to sort it by songs.
Tried that.
Yeah, and I'm looking, and why, goodness gracious, good golly, Miss Molly, it doesn't look like
it's there.
It's there. Well,
it's for photos, though.
They're saving space by not giving you, on screen space. That does seem odd.
Yes.
Yeah. And, of course, the issue with Apple is there's no other program you could use to do this, I guess. You just have to...
Yeah.
You're stuck.
Mm-hmm. I don't like being stuck. That's why I call it.
If Apple doesn't do it...
Leo can.
I guess no, Leo can't do anything Apple won't do. I guess the rationale behind this is, well, you can always, look on your iTunes and see. Golly, that's... okay, how about, look on iTunes Store app. Really, why would that have that information? Yeah. You can see the number of songs. Ah, that's right. Okay, I'll tell you where you can see how many songs. In the usage section. So go to your settings.
Yep.
And then a general.
Yep.
And about. And you'll see I have 1,835 songs on my iPad. So that's where they've hidden it. This is, by the way, I think a very bad tendency on Apple's part. They've moved a lot of stuff that really should be in the app into the settings, including app-specific settings. I just feel like that's something you really should be doing inside the application, not... And how would you know if you go to, your settings that you should look in general about And there you'll see the number of songs. Is that obvious? Well, it's kind of the usage, I guess. But I could see I have 253 videos. I have 3,150 photos. So all those stats are there. Thank you to the chat room.
Yeah, well, I asked the chat room. They didn't give me an answer.
Well, they all only listen to me now.
Oh, okay. Sure.
No, I think that's in fact, I knew that. I should have it should have come to mind. That is where you can see that. But it's not, to me, Apple does this a lot. It's one of the reasons I'm not fond of iOS. It's a little bit inscrutable. Now, maybe that's just because I don't use it day in, day out, except I do, really. I mean, my phone and my tablet. But maybe I'm not as expert. I don't know. I feel like it should be more obvious where this stuff is stored. And it seems a little odd that Apple has hidden this away in an About menu instead of in the Music app. They took it out of the Music app. Well, there you go.
There you go. There it is.
Now you know. That's Apple for you. I find myself doing that a lot with iOS apps. It's not immediately obvious in some apps how to go back a page, things like that. It's just the controls. Every app's a little bit different, and then Apple does weird things like store that kind of information instead of in your Music app where it would make sense in the settings. Look, nothing's perfect. I'm not saying Android doesn't do dumb things too, but I just, for some reason, I get a little more frustrated with Apple. I expect better. Maybe that's it. I expect better from them. They're the usability experts, aren't they? At least that's the impression they'd like to give. Sam in Costa Mesa, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Leo. Quick question for you. I've got a aging PC. It is a microelectronics. Basically has a 2-quad CPU, and it was made in 2009. And I'm looking to replace it simply because eventually these things go out. And before it goes out, I'd rather just replace it. And I was wondering what a recommendation would be from you. The only thing I actually use a computer for is on the internet and to do my QuickBooks for my business. I don't game on it, or anything like that.
Do you run QuickBooks from the desktop, or do you use QuickBooks Online?
From the desktop.
Would you consider using online, or because I think even Intuit wants you to move to the QuickBooks Online version.
Yeah, I know they do, but I've got this thing about the NSA type stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's your most private stuff, is your business accounting, and you don't want to store that in the cloud. We use it, but I can understand why somebody wouldn't want to. So the only reason I ask that is if everything were in the cloud, then you could save a lot of money and complexity and security by using a Chromebook, because that's basically a browser in a very secure platform. But it wouldn't run QuickBooks. You'd only be able to use QuickBooks Online. In fact, you might not even be able to use QuickBooks Online, because it's been my experience a lot of times they want you to use Internet Explorer, which I find incredibly frustrating. So in that case, you just need a relatively inexpensive, simple Windows machine. There are a lot of companies that make good ones. Dell is, I still think, one of the kind of this rock-solid business companies. You want a laptop or a desktop?
A desktop.
Yeah.
I'm not really...
I'd go with a Dell desktop. We've been very happy.
3,000.
Yeah, we bought. Yeah, they have great business models. You don't need to overbuy because you're not doing anything demanding. You're not launching rockets or editing movies or designing cars. I'd say get a basic Dell business machine. Shouldn't cost you more than $500-600. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Chromebook is more than sophisticated for 99% of users. It's the 1% who insist on using a desktop application, for instance, or who are doing stuff that's more demanding, like gaming. This Chromebook is getting annoying, says iPad 07803. Okay, what if I said Chromebook or iPad? You're logging into chat on an iPad. That settles it, right there. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Walnut, California. VJ on the line. Hi, VJ.
Hi, Leo. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, fine. I have a slight problem, and I know you might have an answer for that.
All right.
I have an old scanner, Epson Perfection V100 Photo.
Yeah, I used to have that scanner myself. Great little scanner.
Right,
yeah.
right. And I used to use it only for copying my slides to the downloading on my computer.
It has a little tray that you can put the slides in. Yeah.
Right. And I haven't used this for maybe a few years now. And I got a new laptop, which has a Windows 10. And I'm trying to connect it, and somehow or other it just doesn't get it, even though I asked for the software driver for Windows 10.
It does have Windows 10 drivers.
Yeah, it says that, and whenever I do that, it comes back. I mean, it won't connect.
And you're connecting, it's USB, or are you doing it wirelessly? Using
USB.
All right. Yeah, I mean, whenever there's a Windows upgrade, we always run into these for a while. Epson, I'm looking, and Epson does make sure you get the 64-bit or 32-bit, get the right driver for the version of Windows 10 you have.
How do you know it's 64 or 32?
So the way to find out on your Windows machine is to type Command R, Windows key R, and then type WinVer, WINVER. Let me just try this while we're talking, just to remind myself. It's Command R, WINVER. That'll pop up a window, and I think it will tell you. I think it should tell you what. It doesn't. It just says that you have Windows on there, but not, almost certainly it's 64-bit. Did you do the upgrade?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you have how old is the computer?
About a year old.
Yeah, I think you
It's an Acer.
Yeah, it's 64-bit. I would try the 64-bit driver just to make sure. That's one possibility. Probably that's not causing the problem, but you got to try it.
No, I tried both.
Yeah. And I'm just not sure. I don't know if there's. So does it? What is the symptom? It doesn't run, or it runs, but it just never sees your scanner.
It doesn't connect. It comes back and says go for a troubleshooting. It's not connecting.
Yeah.
And I spent hours trying to fix it, but nothing works. So I thought maybe you might be able to help me out.
I just think it's incapacitated. It's that, well, I mean, Epson's good about these drivers. If they say they have a Windows 10 driver, I think they do.
I also have iMac. Maybe can I connect it to iMac?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it works fine with an iMac. You just obviously you have to get the OS 10 drivers for that one.
Sure. Okay.
Boy, I am baffled on this one.
And other option I have is to buy a new scanner where I can copy the slides.
Right.
Do you recommend any one which I should go for?
I think actually you shouldn't have to buy a new scanner. That's a very good scanner.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I could see no reason. You might want to. There is third-party scanning software. It might be worth a try. My suspicion is, when you plug in the scanner unplug the scanner and plug it in again, the USB port, and see if you hear the sound of a device being mounted, and make sure, look in the device manager, that the USB driver is actually seeing the scanner.
Okay.
That's in so if you hit Windows key X and look at device manager, you can actually see the USB devices and make sure that printer or scanner is being seen. If it's not being seen, that would explain why you can't see it. It wouldn't be a driver issue. It wouldn't be the software issue. It'd be that it's not been mounted properly. Try a different port.
I tried that. I only have port, so.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know if their software works. It should work, but I just don't know. I would think it's the drivers, in which case, anyway, Hamrick software, ViewScan, it's a third-party scanner program that's really a very good one. You might end up using it anyway. Free to try, and see if that can see it. My suspicion is if it's not seeing it in the drivers, it's not going to see it at all. Let's see. Microsoft Windows 10 support. I'm on the Epson support page for this. Yeah, it says it supports all of the scanners. Make sure you're getting the right driver. Uninstall it and reinstall it. Run Windows Update, see if Windows has an update. Make sure you have, okay. Here we go. Thank you, MechMan. The other thing you're going to want to do is go to the Windows Store and download and install the free Epson Print and Scan program. The scanner was obviously designed before Windows 10, and perhaps the scanning program isn't working in Windows 10, but the Epson Print and Scan is in the Windows Store for Windows 10, so that should absolutely work. And Hamrick might work in that case. A couple of things to try anyway. Bob, Vancouver, Washington. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Bob.
Yeah, hi, Leo. Got a quick question. Amazon shows I have a Sony A99 and a ton of Minolta lenses and a couple of the new Zeiss lenses and stuff. But the A99 does not have Wi-Fi. And when I'm out shooting, there are times when there's some stuff that I would like to download to my iPad, but I have no way to connect the two together. And I was wondering if one of these Wi-Fi SD cards would.
Oh yeah, the iFis. That's an interesting idea. You take an SD card in the camera.
Right.
Yeah, I've used the iFis, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good. They work.
Great.
So the idea, I mean, they're not. So in order to get Wi-Fi technology into that card, they can't make massive capacity cards, and they don't use the latest, greatest, super fast flash, flash memory. So, but for that particular use, it might work. The question is, if there is an app for the iPad. Because unfortunately, let me look and see. I'm going to go to the iFi site. Yeah, they have an App Store app. So that's good news. That means that you should be able to use their app to transfer and view the photos that you take on your camera.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the iFis work. That's kind of an amazing technology. There's enough space in that SD card for both memory and a Wi-Fi radio.
Yeah, well, like the one I saw on Amazon, the largest one I saw was 32 gigs.
Yeah, that's why.
Still pictures. There's still pictures. Well, in fact, even for short videos where I'm videoing my granddaughter pitch and slow pitch, I mean, that'd work because they're never more than a few minutes.
Yeah.
So that'd be super.
Yeah, you just, it's not, you can't get a 128 gig card, big deal. What you're getting is the, 32 gigs plus to iFi capability. That's pretty good. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It'll do RAW. They are class 10 cards, so they're fairly fast. They're just not the fastest out there. So you can, it's too bad that WinVer doesn't do that. WinVer does not tell you, it tells you the build, but it doesn't tell you, thank you Microsoft, whether you're using 64 or 32 bits. So what you have to do is right-click on Computer and select Properties. You right-click on this PC, select Properties, and then you can see if you have a 64-bit operating system. That's kind of silly. System info, let's try that. Command R system info. Yeah. No. Okay, so what you have to do is Command R CMD and then type system info, and you'll get a DOS screen full of stuff. Yeah, and that tells you some good stuff. Yeah, that's good. Windows key pause. Unfortunately, this Dell doesn't have a pause button. I think the Surface Book doesn't either. Let me check. You'd have to have one of the old keyboards. Yeah, they've eliminated pause from the newer Windows machines. You don't have pause keys anymore. That's pretty funny. There must be an analog for that, though, right? There's no pause or break anymore on modern keyboards. No. That's old school. Neither this Dell nor this Surface have a pause or break key. They have print screen, home, end, page up, page down, and insert and delete. And the menu key and the Windows key, and that's it. DX diag is not what we want to do really either, but I guess that would work. Recognize me. Oh, it doesn't like my headphones. WinKey control panel system. No, I don't have that either. This is funny. Maybe that's why, because I read somebody said, oh, the new Surface Book keyboard is not good for programmers, and I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. You mean the menu key? You probably mean the menu key, right? Yeah, you could do menu key properties. There you go. No, that's not it. Nope. No, there's no pause key anymore. Why would you have one, a break pause key? It's Hamrick, View Scan, CDOG Fast, or just go to techguylabs.com. DXDiag is just the DirectX Diagnostics, but I guess that would tell you, among other things, if you had a 64K, 64-bit system. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Last few minutes of the show. Time for a couple of calls, though. John in Altadena, California is next. Hi, John.
Hey, good afternoon, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, sir. I've got a very smart 15-year-old who's getting around my open DNS to block YouTube. PewDiePie and YouTube.
Oh, you can't block PewDiePie. That's against federal law, my friend.
Well, it's against the law in my house.
Yeah, the problem is these kids get smart, and they figure out ways around it. So the trick on this is to put OpenDNS, I think, on your router. And
I've got an Apple. That's the problem. The Apple, the old software used to be able to block MAC addresses and times of the day. This new version.
Yeah.
Is there a hardware solution, or is there an ISP? I have Charter. Can you do that on the modem side?
Well, you could still, I'm not sure why you don't want, you could still use OpenDNS, just change the DNS on your, oh, I see what you're saying. You want to watch PewDiePie, you just don't want the kid to watch PewDiePie.
Well, he's got a Chromebook. He used to be an all-Mac family, but now he's got a Chromebook, and he uses a Google DNS to get around the OpenDNS. So
yeah, but if you do it in the router, and then, you'd have to lock it down on his system. You'd have to prevent changes on his system. I see what you're saying.
Right, and he has a Chromebook, so it's pretty open and loose. So he's beating my systems every time.
Dag nabbit, kids these days.
He's got to do homework, Leo.
I understand. I do understand. As a parent of teenagers, I have been through this. We didn't have PewDiePie in my day. But we had. I know
he's rich, but
we had equally annoying things.
Right.
Let me think. There used to be, and I think there still are, hardware devices, but they always cause problems in my experience. They slow things down. The problem really is that the Apple router now just doesn't have the capabilities it ought to have to do the kind of filtering you'd like to do. And that's really the ideal way to do it. You could, for instance, block the domain at the router if you had these capabilities. But Apple's decided they want to make consumer-grade devices, not professional-grade devices. I think your best bet is to get rid of the Apple router and get a better router.
Expensive. I just bought it.
Well, you just asked me about a hardware device. That's going to be just as expensive, and you're going to pay a yearly fee or a monthly fee.
Right, sir. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, I know you can do it with OpenDNS, and that's a great way to do it, but I understand he's not using OpenDNS. He just changes the DNS in the Chromebook. I would look at ways to lock down the Chromebook. I am sure there are ways to administer the Chromebook.
So I'm stuck, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not sure you're stuck. But I'm going to have to get some help on how you can lock a Chromebook down. Because I mean, look, they wouldn't be able to sell these to businesses if you couldn't do things like lock out PewDiePie.
Right.
So that's what...
During certain times of the day. It's about the clock, controlling the...
I know. You know what I used to do is I'd turn off the internet at 10 p.m. every night. Right. And I would do that, in fact, using an Apple router. That was in the days when they had that capability built in. And they had access... What you want is an ACL, an access control list that lets you say certain computers can access YouTube and certain computers cannot. Okay. So the trick is to see what we can do here to control things on the Chromebook. And I bet you there's ways to administer... Yeah. What you want is an administration tool, business-style administration tool.
Okay.
I'm gonna do some searching on this. I would be shocked if they did not have that kind of stuff, because it'd be hard to sell to business if IT didn't have the capability of changing capabilities on the Chromebook. On most computers, Windows and Mac, for instance, you could password protect the network settings, and only an admin can get into the network settings, and that would do the job. You can, if you had a more capable router, you can get more sophisticated in the router for sure. And this is a snap. In fact, they even have instructions on OpenDNS on how to keep people from using anything but OpenDNS, But the problem is the router is so limited. Let's see here. OMGChrome.com is a website, apparently. OMGChrome.com. And they have a page on here, a parent's guide to setting up supervised users on a Chromebook. And that's what you want. This is a feature that's relatively new to the Chromebook, called supervised users, that let you control what your kid can do on the Chromebook. So I'll put a link to this in our show notes. This is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you to the chat room for that. Thanks to Marsworm for that. What you'll do is you'll log into the Chromebook on your account, and you'll turn on this supervised users feature. You have to do it within Chrome in the flags. And once you've done that, you can create a user that is supervised. This will be your kid's account. You don't give him your account, obviously. And when your kid's using it, there'll be limitations to the kinds of things he can do. This is exactly what you want. Chrome has its own supervised users FAQ. That I'll put that link in the show notes, because that'll give you everything you need to know. Gary, Glendale, California. Hi, Gary. Leo Laporte, the tech
Leo,
guy.
thanks for taking my call, my friend. I've been listening to you for a few years. I got a problem with my AT&T Uverse. Got a wireless box and a wireless gateway, I guess, which is a router. Now, my question is, I know there's some Super Wazoo routers out there, dual band and all that kind of stuff. Is the router they use for the TV and everything the same as the router that I could buy at Best Buy?
No, so it's important that the TV router you leave. But the Wi-Fi router, is it separate, or is it part of the whole big box?
It's separate. I've got a box that is like the modem.
Yeah, you need the modem and you need the TV interface, but you can replace the Wi-Fi part.
Okay, that's what I'm after.
Yeah, as long as that's a standalone unit. If it's not, you could still replace it. You just turn off the Wi-Fi in the standalone unit and connect your new super-duper tri-band Wi-Fi router to an Ethernet port on the Uverse unit. And that will give internet access to the Wi-Fi router that's yours, you own, and then you can use that. And by the way, there are some really good ones out there, not just dual band. The one I bought, a little pricey, $200+ the AC3200 from Asus, but I love it. It's fastest router I've ever used. It has 3 bands, 2 5G and 1 2.4. It's been really good in a very spread out area. Lots of settings, and you can modify the firmware because they're using a standard DDWRT style firmware. So it's important to get a router that they'll update the firmware, and if they don't, that you can. And Asus has done a great job with all their routers. They're pricey. There's another one that's less expensive that is widely recommended, well under $100. Also very fast dual band router, and that's from TP-Link. It's I think it's called the Archer C7. That's
Archer C7.
Yeah, that's less expensive but very fast. The trick is going to be to say, I want to do my own Wi-Fi. Don't you do Wi-Fi, UVerse. I'll take care of it from here.
Great.
Thanks for the call. Hey, we're out of time. Thanks to Jeff in the control room. Thanks to Kim Schaffer on the phones. I'm Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today and Tech News Tonight. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.